Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 15th of May. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you an overview that we can all relate to collectively, but please stay with me. I will then explore each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces in much greater detail. Now, as this week begins, so Mercury starts to go forwards. It went retrograde on the 21st of April. If there have been strands of your situation that have felt rather frustrating, have got bogged down, there's been misunderstandings or those inevitable glitches that we get with Mercury retrograde, it wouldn't be a surprise. But Mercury retrograde in Taurus is very specifically around financial matters, but also around our sense of values and self-worth. So it's been an opportunity to try to tighten up in those areas, but also work on making sure that we validate who we are. Now that process is given a huge boost, a further boost on Tuesday, because Jupiter, the planet of growth and expansion and excitement, moves into the sign of Taurus to join up with Mercury, the Sun, and the North Node and Uranus. And it's going to be here through to the 25th of May 2024. So a huge journey is set to unfold. Now I think what we're going to see is some initial improvements. They may not seem particularly significant in our overall financial picture because there's been such a headwind that's been running for the last year, which really accelerated from that lunar eclipse on the 8th of November last year, which really was challenging for the overall economic environment. But we are going to see some improvements, bits and pieces. There may still be some creeping up in terms of interest rates, but I think this is the beginning of a much brighter period. But Jupiter is challenged by Pluto, so when we are thinking about our longer term future, we do have to balance our idealism with our realism. Now Friday also sees a new moon in the sign of Taurus, so another good news story. This is supported by Mars. When Mars is feeding into a new moon, the energy and drive of Mars, this time in Cancer, a feeling sign, is linking well with the earthy energies of the new moon. You can see below for my deep dive on the Taurus new moon, but it's a new moon with lots of promise because the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. This is its second favourite location, and it's very much to do with stability, but it's encouraging us to find ways to try to make our lives more secure and grounded, perhaps by being a bit more thrifty, a bit more imaginative, working things around in terms of existing resources the best we can. But as the week draws to a close, it's a more social set of influences that really start to develop. Mars punching into the sign of Leo on Saturday, where it will be through to July the 10th. This is really exciting. Wonderful for performance, for demonstrating our talents and our creativity. But on Sunday, as the Sun speeds in to the sign of Gemini, the Sun and Mars continue their excellent alliance that did encompass that new moon, but in two new signs. And of course, the Sun moving into Gemini is about air, it's about communication. So I feel that we're going to see a lot of sluggishness that's been really prevalent over the last 3 weeks make way for a lot of thrust-in energy by the end of this week. Also, the Sun's forging an exciting link to Pluto in the sign of Aquarius, the Sun in Gemini. So in general, a lot more communication is going to be arcing backwards and forwards, but in a very transformational way. So I think after a year of what has been quite a brutal time financially, there are going to be a few hopeful signs, but that will become much more obvious in the weeks and months to come. But as this week draws to a close, it's an opportunity to get together with others, to socialise, to connect, share ideas and be a lot more bubbly. If you're a returning visitor to my channel, thank you so much for joining me once more. If you're new here, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. Please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Also, if you'd like to get your free daily horoscope fired to your device each morning, please see the link below. So Pisces, your week commencing the 15th of May forecast sees your two ruling planets of Jupiter, traditional, and Neptune very much at the heart of proceedings. Now Jupiter is going to be moving into your sector of everyday communication for the next year. Expect a lot more connection with the people immediately around you, perhaps in your community, perhaps through the internet, because that's a digital community. And also Neptune forges a beautiful link with the Sun this week. You can be a very supportive person, very intuitive, very encouraging, particularly when people are going through more difficult situations emotionally. And there may be a conversation you have this week that someone's very grateful for your insights and supportive help. But also Mercury, of course, has been in retrograde since the 21st of April. And inevitably there probably has been some cross wires, misunderstandings, and it could actually in some way be linked to people who live immediately around you or technology. So if you've been finding that a device hasn't been behaving properly or updating, or your broadband's dropped off, or your mode of transport has had some kind of glitch, none of it would be a surprise. Mercury going direct will obviously help, but later this week we also have a new moon. So this is going to help you to reset your position when it comes to your ideas, how you share them, and how you reach people. You may even find that someone who hasn't been in contact with you will be so this week. Or perhaps the onus is on you to reach out and get in contact with them. Mercury is also forging a very constructive link to Saturn in your sign. So if you say what you mean and mean what you say clearly and sincerely, that can strike home. What are the complications? Well, Jupiter does square up with Pluto. Jupiter can be very expansive and it can have an exaggerated energy. And Pluto's in your 12th house. So if there's something that's unsettling you, it can feel larger than life. So just be aware of trying to keep grounded. And in that sense, Saturn can be very helpful. Also, on Saturday, Mars does move into the part of your situation to do with your physical vitality and health. Now, in the whole, the following 6 weeks could be a time that actually you get a lot more active and fitter and stronger and build up the robustness of your system. But initially, it immediately goes opposite Pluto, but square Jupiter. So this is known as a T-square, and it's a fixed T-square. Now, you're a mutable sign, so you can be quite changeable, not in any particular sinister way. You can just have different mindsets and emotional shifts in your moods, even every day. But what this fixed energy is asking us all to be aware of is that when it comes to our ideas and how we express them, just be aware of not being too forceful, which comes from Mars in the 6th house, but also being in some way triggered by some deeper psychological parts of your nature that you may not be quite aware of. The Sun moves on Sunday into your sector of home and emotion. And it's saying to you over the following month that taking things back into yourself and feeling that you have a sense of security and you're aware of your basis, your foundation, have a pause, have a breath, because there has been a lot of activity recently. It's probably been a bit stressful at times. You may have found it more difficult to sleep, particularly since Uranus has been in the sign of Taurus full time since March 2019, depending on where your sun is in Pisces or other personal planets in your natal chart. And I just feel that if there is quite a lot of catching up energy and things getting sorted out this week in quite a positive way, which I think can happen, actually by the end of the week you could find that you just really want to have some time in nature, maybe some soaks and a long hot deep bath with some essential oils and some Epsom salts to really tune out and relax, and maybe just have some moments to just come down a little bit from what has been and will be, I feel, quite an intense, even if an exciting week for you. Now, if you would like to ascend above this zodiac broadcast and understand how serious astrology can help guide your future, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can produce for you your life roadmap report. This will help you to gain a much closer understanding of the patterns that have been playing out in your life thus far, but also capitalize on opportunities more effectively, but also deal with some of the challenges better. But also within my special package of 30% off, you can get your 12-month personal forecast. This will give you searing insights as to what to expect in the months to come. If you don't know your time of birth, please give me your date and place, and I can produce for you my solar package based on the sun. And if you enjoy relating to zodiac forecasts on YouTube through your sun, these will make perfect sense. And just like my other package, there is 30% off if you buy the forecast too. Please see the link below for more.